Hey everyone, Sean here, and today what I want to talk to you more about is where your firm is currently losing big money. Now, the story I'm going to share is a story of the assembly line, which was largely popularized in the early 1900s by the Ford Motor Company when it came to producing and mass manufacturing vehicles. Now, this changed everything about the leverage that we were capable of all throughout the Industrial Revolution, and it really changed manufacturing forever. But the question I have for you is whether or not you know how we go about making improvements to something like an assembly line. Well, we look for inefficiencies in the process, otherwise referred to as bottlenecks. Now, if you think about it as a visual, along an assembly line, there are a number of stations as parts get put onto, for example, a vehicle, if that's what we're building and that's what that assembly line is designed for. But along the way, each step in the process isn't necessarily moving at the same pace. And as you take a step back and you look at all of the steps, eventually one step is moving slower than the others, causing parts to pile up at that station. And that's how you identify your bottleneck. Now, the reason why bottlenecks are such a problem is because those parts piling up and that station being slower than all the others slows the entire process down. And ultimately, those piling up parts, they become obsolete, they break, but most importantly, they can't be converted into revenue or profit by selling that finished product to a customer. And that's where it impacts the amount of money that that company is capable of producing. Now, the question from here might be, this story is probably relatively straightforward in understanding it, but how does it apply to your firm? Well, the point here is that your firm is experiencing something very similar. You may not think of it in these terms, but you're experiencing something very similar in terms of this problem. It's causing a similar impact to the financial performance of your firm. The idea in terms of where we want you to look is between somewhere in between client acceptance to service delivery. Now, along this critical path, you have a number of processes that are expected to be completed by your team as it pertains to operations, both internally and externally. Now, along each of these processes are steps that your teams are completing. And along each of them, there is a step that is the slowest step in the process where you have an equivalent of things piling up and that step in the process being your bottleneck, slowing the entire process down. Now, where this translates into you losing big money is because this step is taking not just the most time, but causing the most impact because it's chewing up valuable resources and increasing your expense. Now, the reason we want to focus here and eliminate that is because we can get the best ROI if we fix that step in the process. So ideally, that's where you want to focus because you can make the smallest change that makes the biggest impact, further maximizing your ROI. And the reason why we want to do that is because we can repurpose that time into more profitable activities, which then enables your firm to be able to also generate more. So not only will eliminating the bottlenecks in these processes help you with saving by reducing your expenses, it will also enable you to make more because you can reinvest that time saved into more profitable activities. And the other question that you might have is, what do we do after we find a bottleneck and eliminate it? Are we done at that point? And that answer is also no, because the bottleneck doesn't simply go away, it just moves around. For example, if your process has 5 steps and you eliminate what was the bottleneck, that was number 3, because you've fixed number 3, the new bottleneck in the process might be number 4 or number 2. So you have to consistently repeat this process, look for the bottleneck because there always will be one to make sure that your process is able to keep pace with the amount of work that is coming into your process, or in this case, the equivalent that we used as an analogy was the assembly line. You want to make sure that that moves fast enough to ship enough product, in your case, to provide the service to your clients as fast as it possibly can, maximizing the efficiency of what your firm is capable of. If your firm needs any help identifying and eliminating bottlenecks, please reach out to me, and you can reach me on my website at nextstep.io or email me directly at sean@nextstep.io. And I want to thank you for engaging